Hare Krishna, and good morning from Hong Kong. I'm Sravaniya Dasi, and I'm reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 26, Text 53 and 255. And thank you to Chaitanya Gosai for the invitation to share today, and thank you for joining us. All right, let's get started. Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimad Bhagavatam Swami Iti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharane Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Pasachari Stharni Panchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanang Namaskritya Narang Chaiva Narottamam Devim Sarasatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudhirayet. So today's topic is universal creation and manifestation. In chapter 26 of Srimad Bhagavatam, Lord Kapiladeva is speaking to his mother Devahuti. He very scientifically describes the symptoms of the total material nature and the characteristics of the spirit according to the Sāṅkhya system of philosophy. So here he is describing in detail how the Supreme Spirit, in his form as Garbhodaksayi Visnu, creates the universal material manifestations. Now let's explore today's verses and purports. Text 53. Hiranmayad andakoshad utaya salile shayat tam avishya mahadevo bahudha nirvidedakam. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Virata Purusha, situated himself in that golden egg which was lying on the water, and he divided it into many departments. So the reference to golden egg means the sphere of the universe, which was on the Karna Ocean, lying on the water. Okay, text 54. Niravidya tasya pratamam mukam vani tato bhavat vanyava nir ato nase pranoto grana itayo. Translation. First of all, a mouth appeared in him, and then came forth the organ of speech, and with it the god of fire, the deity who presides over that organ. Then a pair of nostrils appeared, and in them appeared the olfactory sense, as well as prana, the vital air. Purport. With the manifestation of speech, fire also became manifested. And with the manifestation of nostrils, the vital air, the breathing process, and the sense of smell also became manifested. Text 55. Granadvayor abhidyetam akshini chakshuretayo tasmat suryo nyabhidyetam Karnao srotram tato disha. In the wake of the olfactory sense came the wind god who presides over that sense. Thereafter, a pair of eyes appeared in the universal form, and in them the sense of sight. In the wake of this sense came the sun god who presides over it. Next, there appeared in him a pair of ears, and in them the auditory sense, and in its wake the Digdevatas, or the deities who preside over the directions. The directions meaning ethereal space. Purport. The appearance of different bodily parts of the Lord's universal form and the appearance of the presiding deities of those bodily parts is being described. As in the womb of a mother, a child gradually grows different bodily parts, so in the universal womb, the universal form of the Lord gives rise to the creation of various paraphernalia. The senses appear, and over each of them there is a presiding deity. It is corroborated by this statement of Srimad Bhagavatam and also by Brahma Samhita that the sun appeared after the appearance of the eyes of the universal form of the Lord. The sun is dependent on the eyes of the universal form. The Brahma Samhita also says that the sun is the eye of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. Yats chakshur esa savita. Savita means the sun. The sun is the eye of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Actually, everything is created by the universal body of the Supreme Godhead. Material nature is simply the supplier of materials. The creation is actually done by the Supreme Lord, as confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita, Maya dikshena prakriti suyate sacharacharam. Under my direction does the material nature create all moving and non-moving objects in the cosmic creation. So that's Srila Prabhupada's purports. And here's my commentary. Those who accept that there is God believe that he created everything. But how did he do it? Here we're entering into the granular details of universal creation. Let me give you a bit of background. According to Srimad Bhagavatam, there are three main expansions of Lord Vishnu: Garbhodaksayi Visnu, Garbhodaksayi Visnu, and Kshirodaksayi Visnu. All right? So the first, Garbhodaksayi Visnu, also known as Mahavishnu. This form is the Supreme Purusha who creates, preserves, and destroys everything in the cosmos, often described as lying on the Karna ocean, causal ocean, right? If life is but a dream, then here is the dreamer. When he exhales, unlimited universes in the shape of round spheres or eggs are manifested, and when he inhales, they all enter into him again. All right, so exhale, create, inhale, withdraw, exhale, okay? So one breath. And here's further evidence from Sri Brahma Samhita. Yasyaika nishvasita kalam atavalambya jivanti loma vilaja jaganantanata Vishnur mahan sa iha yashya khala vishesho govindam aripurusham tamaham bhajami. Translation: Brahma and other lords of the mundane worlds, appearing from the pores of hair of Mahavishnu, remain alive as long as the duration of one exhalation of Mahavishnu. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, of whose subjective personality Mahavishnu is the portion of a portion. Now, portion of portion means an expansion, not an incarnation. So it's a manifestation of the form. And when they say plenary, they mean it has all the same potency of the original. Plenary means non-different. Okay, then there's more. So that's Garbhodaksayi Visnu, right? Mahavishnu. Now we're talking about Garbhodaksayi Visnu, manifested from Mahavishnu. And this expansion is present within every individual universe. Brahmanda, that's a Brahmanda. And it resides in the Garbha ocean. Okay, now you know the images of Lord Vishnu lying on Ananta Shesha, And there is a lotus stem coming from his navel, and there's a lotus flower with Lord Brahma on it. Now that is Garbhodaksayi Visnu. All right, and he is the source of Lord Brahma's appearance on the lotus. So that's the difference. And then Garbhodaksayi Visnu, also known as the Paramatma. This form is the supersoul residing in each atom and living being, lying on the Kshira ocean. Kshira means milk, so the milk ocean. And when there is a disturbance in universal affairs, the demigods approach him for shelter and guidance. Okay, so here's Srila Prabhupada's explanation from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Leela, chapter 2, verse 52. Superficially, we see that these Purushas have a relationship with Maya. But above them, in the fourth dimension, is Lord Krishna, who has no contact with the material energy. Here's the purport. The three Purushas, Garbhodaksayi Visnu, Garbhodaksayi Visnu, and Garbhodaksayi Visnu, all have a relationship with the material energy called Maya, because through Maya they create material cosmos. These three Purushas, who lie on the Karna, Garbha, and Kshira oceans, respectively, are the supersoul of everything that be. Garbhodaksayi Visnu is the supersoul of the collective universes. Garbhodaksayi Visnu is the supersoul of the collective living beings. And Garbhodaksayi Visnu is the supersoul of all individual living beings. Because all of them are somehow attracted to the affairs of the material energy, they can be said to have some affection for Maya. But the transcendental position of Sri Krishna himself is not even slightly tinged with Maya. His transcendental state is called Turiya, or the fourth dimensional stage. That's Prabhupada's explanation. Now in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, text 10, the Lord in his original form as Sri Krishna explains to Arjuna, Maya Dikshena Prakriti Suyate Sacharacharam Heto Na Nenukontaya Jagad Viparivartate. This material nature is working under my direction, O son of Kunti, and it is producing all moving and unmoving beings. By its rule, this manifestation is created and annihilated again and again. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. It is clearly stated here that the Supreme Lord, although aloof from all the activities of the material world, remains the Supreme Director. The Supreme Lord is the Supreme Will and the background of this material manifestation, but the management is being conducted by material nature. Krishna also states in Bhagavad Gita that all the living entities in different forms and species, I am the Father, he says. The Father gives seeds to the womb of the mother for the child. And similarly, the Supreme Lord, by his mere glance, injects all the living entities into the womb of material nature, and then they come out in their different forms and species according to their last desires and activities. All these living entities, although born under the glance of the Supreme Lord, still take their different bodies according to their own past deeds and desires. So the Lord is not directly attached to this material creation. He simply glances over material nature. Material nature is thus activated, and everything is created immediately. Because he glances over material nature, there is undoubtedly activity on the part of the Supreme Lord, but he has nothing to do with the manifestation of the material world directly. This example is given in the Smriti. When there is a fragrant flower before someone, The fragrance is touched by the smelling power of the person, and yet the smelling and the flower are detached from one another. There is similar connection between the material world and the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Actually, he has nothing to do with this material world, but he creates by his glance and he ordains. In summary, material nature, without the superintendence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, cannot do anything. Yet the Supreme Personality is detached from all material activities. Interesting. So, psychologist Carl Jung once said, the brighter the light, the darker the shadow. Maya cannot stand in front of the Supreme Lord. She stands behind him. And she is his external material energy, Bahiranga Shakti. And she's a great servant. Maya's somewhat thankless task is to cause forgetfulness in the living entities who disagree with the Lord and prefer not to engage in his loving service. Love is not forced. It is voluntary. And God has given us free will. And those of us within the cloud of matter have obviously misused it. But he never gives up on us. And even as we consciously take leave of him, the Lord goes along with each and every one of us. However, this universal form, the Virata Rupa, is not an eternal form of the Lord. In Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 6, text number 4, purport, Srila Prabhupada writes, the Virata Rupa, or Vishvarupa, the gigantic universal form of the Lord, which is very much appreciated by the impersonalist, is not an eternal form of the Lord. It is manifested by the supreme will of the Lord after the ingredients of material creation. Lord Krishna exhibited this Virat or Vishvarupa to Arjuna just to convince the impersonalist that he is the original personality of Godhead. Krishna exhibited the Virata Rupa. It is not that Krishna was exhibited by the Virata Rupa. Okay, so Krishna is not the 8th incarnation of Lord Vishnu. No. Somebody should tell us a Shambhala Encyclopedia of Yoga that they need to correct that. Right. The Virata Rupa is not therefore an eternal form of the Lord exhibited in the spiritual sky. It is a material manifestation of the Lord. The Archa Vigraha, or the worshipable deity in the temple, is a similar manifestation of the Lord for the beginners, the neophytes. But in spite of their material touch, such forms of the Lord as Virat and Archa are all non-different from his eternal form as Lord Krishna. So they're different but not different. Achintya Veda Ved. Yep. So the Lord is in the world, but not of the world. Another inconceivable quality of the Lord. So, this Vishnu, that Vishnu, it's hard to keep up. But we should remember that Vishnu is not the original form of God. Krishna is the original form. In a lecture given in Bombay in 1975, Srila Prabhupada makes the case. He says this: we have got experience of the Virata Rupa in the Bhagavad Gita, but that is not permanent Rupa. Permanent Rupa is Krishna. Dvibhuja Muralidhar. He has got 2 hands and is playing on a flute. That is permanent Rupa. Virata Rupa, as it was shown to Arjuna, is called Naimiktika, under certain conditions. That is not eternal Rupa. The eternal Rupa is described in the Shastra. And he quotes Brahma Samhita, Benum kvanantam aravinda dalayataksham, barhavatam samasitam buddha sundarangam, kandarpa koti kamaniya vishesha sobham govindamari purusham tamaham bhajami. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who is adept in playing on his flute, with blooming eyes like lotus petals, with head decked with peacock's feather, with a figure of beauty tinged with the hue of blue clouds, and his unique loveliness charming millions of cupids. The eternal form is Venum Kanvantam. Krishna is always playing on his flute. That is the eternal form. His eternal pastimes and eternal form is in Vrindavan. He does not go anywhere personally, leaving Vrindavan. Padam ekam nagachati. He is always in Vrindavan, but at the same time, he is everywhere. Goloka eva nivisatya kilatma bhuta. Although he is always in his abode, Goloka Vrindavan, still he's present everywhere. How is he present? Andantarasta paramanu chayantarastam govindamari purusham tamaham bhajami. Here's the translation of that verse. Lord Brahma said, he is an undifferentiated entity, as there is no distinction between potency and the possessor thereof. In other words, Lord Brahma is saying there's no difference between energy and energetic. There's no difference. Brahma says, in his work of creation of millions of worlds, his potency remains inseparable. All the universes exist in him, and he is present in his fullness in every one of the atoms that are scattered throughout the universe at one and the same time. Such is the primeval Lord whom I adore. Ishvara sarvabhutanam hrideshir junatishtati. He is situated in everyone's heart. So the eternal form is Krishna. But Vishnu, Mahavishnu, who is the origin of material creation, Kalavishesh, he is the expansion of the plenary expansion of Krishna. Krishna is also referred to as Adhoksaja. Can't figure him out. Yeah, inconceivable. Okay, now from today's purport, Prabhupada wrote, the senses appear, and over each of them there is a presiding deity. It is corroborated by this statement of Srimad Bhagavatam and also by Brahma Samhita that the sun appeared after the appearance of the eyes of the universal form of the Lord. The sun is dependent on the eyes of the universal form. The Brahma Samhita also says that the sun is the eye of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Yach chakshare sa savita. Savita means the sun. The sun is the eye of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this reminds me of a song by Roberta Flack. So many romantic songs remind me of Krishna. When they describe deep love, attachment, and attraction. And so this is from her song, The First Time Ever I Saw Your Face. And Roberta Flack sang, the first time ever I saw your face, I thought the sun rose in your eyes, and the moon and the stars were the gifts you gave to the dark and endless skies, my love. Sounds like Krishna. Krishna consciousness includes the art of seeing Krishna everywhere. Srila Prabhupada said in a lecture in Melbourne in 1974, quote, if you love God, and because we're missing God, we are loving this thing, that thing, that thing, that thing, that thing, and frustration. That very love which is reserved for God, we are applying it in this material world. I love my country. I love my society. I love my family. I love my dog. But I am missing whom to love. That is the point. I'm placing my love in so many things, and I'm becoming frustrated. So when we understand the love is meant for God, that is our perfection of life. And if you love God, then you love everyone. That is perfect love. End quote. So, let's continue to make time for reading Srila Prabhupada's books and chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. The day will come when you will understand everything. Okay. So, thank you for listening. And I have a Spotify channel. I will put the link in the comments below, and also my website. I've got a lot of books that I have written on Amazon. Okay, so Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Shri Gaura Nitai ki jai, Hari Hari Bol.